Welcome to another episode of Fabitgarage. On this episode, we're gonna work on fabricating the custom exhaust. I've been waiting for quite a bit of parts to be delivered, and the exhaust kit finally came in. The fuel pressure regulator came in. I went with aeromotive fuel pressure regulator because first of all, you can't go wrong. And again, even though this is a budget build, I spent a couple $100 and bought a good quality fuel pressure regulator because when it comes to braking, fuel, anything that's kind of safety or that's, might leave you stranded on the side of the road, you do not play around with getting cheap parts. Just get good quality stuff. That way you don't have to worry about anything failing. Now, I could have bought one that looks just like this without that logo for about $39 on Amazon. It came with hose and everything, but you know what? Buy good quality stuff and you won't regret it. So like I said, it's still budget build, but certain things we're not gonna cheap out and make it into a complete, disaster. So exhaust kit, 304 stainless grade, which is one of the best that you can run for exhaust because it's extremely high in corrosion resistance. Magnet doesn't stick to it, which is good. They do have many other grades. They have 304, they have 409, they have 316, they have 321. Every stainless is good or better than another for certain applications. So in this case, for an exhaust, 304 is what most companies use because it just tends to not corrode as fast as other. Now, just because it's stainless doesn't mean it's not gonna rust. It's just will rust a lot slower than certain grades or other types of metals like regular mild steel. So keep in mind, this is gonna be the first time that I am gonna weld stainless with stainless wire. I have welded stainless many times with regular, mild steel wire, and it looks clean, it looks good, but the weld will most likely rot out before the pipe does. It kind of defeats the purpose of building a stainless exhaust and then using regular welding wire, because if the weld's gonna fail within 2 years when the pipe's gonna still look good, then what's the point? So, but keep in mind, I don't expect the welds to look pretty because when you switch from MIG wire, regular steel wire, to stainless wire, you're also supposed to change your shielding gas. Now, I'm gonna attempt to cut a piece off and just practice and see how the weld looks with the regular shielding gas that I have, which is a tri-mix for mild steel. Now, if it looks decent, I'm just gonna run with it. If it looks completely crappy and doesn't really get good penetration and it just doesn't look good, then I might be forced to just use regular wire, make it look pretty, and it is what it is. I do plan on buying a TIG welder sometime soon. I don't know why I haven't bought one yet. They're actually not that much money, and I've always wanted to learn. I actually have right here a full bottle of argon, pure argon, if I can show you guys. Big bottle full. And that's once I buy my TIG welder, I can weld aluminum. So, I'm hoping to get one soon. If I can get this exhaust done with a decent quality and make it last a year or two until I buy a TIG welder and get good at it, because it's not as easy as just buying a TIG welder. You have to learn how to TIG weld, which is a completely different monster than regular MIG welding. So once I get good at that, then I can, redo the exhaust. I can drive the car as is for a year or two and then just redo the exhaust later on because the cars will be pretty much done. So right now the point is get the project going, don't stop, and get this on the road ASAP. So this is what I'm gonna run. So the plan is to put the V-band. So one half of the V-band is already welded to the header, as I showed you. The plan is to put the other half on, tighten the clamp, and then basically use this lip here and tack weld all my pieces the way I want it. And then I'll take off the clamp from the car, take off that piece, fully welded, and then I can put it back on the car. So yeah, so I have my exhaust, my fuel pressure regulator. This is high and low pressure. It does both. It comes with two springs. So because I'm running carbureted, I'm gonna do the low pressure spring. But it also gives me an option as if I decide later on to upgrade to fuel injection, and I want to throw one of those sniper EFIs or systems on it. All I have to do is open this up, change the spring, and now I have high pressure because I'm gonna be using the stock Miata pump with a return line, so I'm not gonna put a lot of stress on it. All my lines for the carbureted application is gonna be high pressure line. So in the future, if I do go to high pressure, I won't have to redo any of my fuel lines. They're already rated for high pressure. So that's just gonna make it extra safe, especially if I'm running only 7 PSI for a carburetor through 80 PSI or 100 PSI lines. It'll be extremely, extremely, extremely heavy duty. So yeah, let me get going. I'm gonna put the other 2 clamps that are on the lift up, and then I'm basically just gonna start cutting angles and just basically making my own exhaust. So like I said, don't expect the welds to look pretty. I'm gonna try and do my best, but I am welding kind of with the wrong gas, so I'm not expecting much. But let's see what we can do. We might be able to make it look, decent. So. All right, would you look at that? So this is stainless wire, and it looked like it might be all right. This is kind of ugly because I had very little room to get the welder to do this, and I couldn't really see it, but the other side came out a little better. This is just tack weld. I'm gonna fully weld it, and then this I'm actually gonna grind the welds a little bit to make it look a little prettier. But so this is one side here. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Here we go. So I had to cut an angle there and then an angle there. So as you can see, this is the shape. Now we're gonna go put it on the car and see how it looks. So V-bend goes right on. Clears transmission. Has about 1/4 inch room from the subframe, and comes straight pointing right at that. So this side came out pretty perfect actually. So now take it out, fully weld it, and then put the clamp on, and the driver's side will pretty much be done because like I said, this comes out to about right here. Anything from here on is mostly straight, and then in the back is not gonna be a big deal at all, no word whatsoever. So as long as I can get my 2 pipes up to here, that is my main concern, because I can run the car, because when the exhaust is short, it will kind of spit some flames and stuff. So as long as the exhaust is actually pointing to the right direction, I'll be happy. I still have to secure the wire that goes all the way to the battery in the back in the trunk, but which I started doing here. I started securing it there. So this is all secure up to here, and then I still have to get some more of these here and do it all the way up. But I got rid of all the evap stuff that was here, the canister stuff. So I have a new fuel filter coming. This bracket, I already took it off and put 2 new bolts, but it's just sitting here right now to hold this up, but I am gonna take this off and put it on the blaster and glass bead it, and then throw a coat of paint. So all this rust that you see here is gonna be gone after you sandblast it. So yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm gonna clean this up and see how I can make it look, but I think I'll be all right. I'm gonna start on the other side. I'm gonna cut my angles and try and get the pipe closer to where I want it here. So the one I just did is for the driver's side, and it comes out to about here. From here on is just straight. So this side is pretty much done as of now. I still have to fabricate a bracket for the hydraulic. So this transmission here, when it came out of the Mustang, it actually had a cable clutch that was on this side here. There was an ear here, which is, as you guys can see, a cut. And that ear is where the cable came through, and it actually pulled the arm. So when you convert it from the Monster Miata kit, you actually put a piece of angle iron here, and you mount your stock Miata slave cylinder, which is somewhere. I believe it's here, yeah. So I bought a brand new OEM slave cylinder. And that's basically gonna go here like that. And that's gonna actuate your clutch. So you're still gonna be using your stock Miata slave cylinder, your stock Miata reservoir. Obviously you're gonna have to run a new line. But I wanna get the exhaust up to the cross member. And then once I know that's good, I'll take the 2 clamps out. I'll take these 2 pieces out, one on each side, and then I'll fabricate that mount for that. Once that's fully installed, the clutch is bled, then I'll put these back, and then I'll just continue the rest of the exhaust, because then these won't come out anymore. Once I bolt these up, after that, this will stay up. So, like I said, I'm not 100% happy with it, but for a stainless steel wire and not having the correct gas, it seems to still work. And as long as I can clean it up, it should be fine. So let's get to the other side and hopefully we can do a little better. Well, I got the other side fully welded. Honestly, not extremely happy with the quality of the weld. Using the wrong shielding gas definitely shows what you can get yourself into. But with the welds cleaned up, it doesn't look horrible. But I'm not very happy with it. But for this build, it'll be fine because I know it's gonna hold up. I know it's not super pretty, but I know it's gonna hold up. But I wish that I had the right stuff so I can actually get a nice bead, but this thing kind of welds nice when it wants to. But either way, it's not super pretty. You're gonna find out that once you start, doing your projects, not everything's gonna go right all the time. You're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna learn from it. So I have, no shame in showing you guys that I'm not happy with the weld. But then again, I'm not a professional welder. I'm a technician. If I can fix cars, we don't do a lot of welding in my shop. If it needs exhaust work, we usually just sell new exhaust. We're not a type of shop that will sit there and patch holes on your exhaust. If your exhaust is falling apart, we're just gonna sell your whole exhaust. So we don't really do any welding at work. So this is more of a hobby, but I just thought I would be able to lay this a little nicer with the stainless wire. But again, when you're using the wrong tools, in my case, the wrong shielding gas, it's kind of hard to get, a very nice weld. But at the end of the day, it's decent. It's not something that someone will look at and be like, ugh. Maybe a professional welder would, but for a regular person, this looks okay. So it's passable for this build. But so this side is pretty much done and all cleaned up. I have to clean up all these welds. I'll show you where this one here goes. This one here is for the passenger side. Goes in there, like that. Comes out, goes around, and comes out here. And this is actually, I put it on the vise and I made it oval to give me, not you, a little more ground clearance. So now from here, I'm just gonna go a 90 and I'm pretty much where I want. So I'm gonna clean this up and, see what we can do as far as exhaust. I put the marker there. I might notch that a tiny bit just for extra clearance. That's why I put the marker there, but at the end of the day, it is a homemade exhaust and I'm not a professional, so it's no shame in learning, that's for sure. So yeah, let me get this right side cleaned up, and then we're probably gonna start working on the clutch slave bracket, because that's kind of above the exhaust, so I want to get that done first, and once that's done, then I'll keep building the exhaust all the way back. So yeah guys, stay tuned. Okay, well, both driver and passenger sides are done. So it's in there. It's not the prettiest. Like I said, I'm not too happy with it, but I'm gonna roll with it. So as you can see, this is 2.5-inch pipe. And because on this side, I had to go under the front subframe, what I did was I crushed it. So basically, instead of being 2.5 inches. This is about like 1.5 inches. I crushed it about 1 inch. So you can see the difference there, how big the pipe, and this is so it will give me ground clearance, and it's not gonna affect the flow, because see how much wider it is? So, it comes around here, gets flattened, basically oval, and over here, back to round. So I did this just for ground clearance. And I don't think it'll be too low anyway, because that's how Monster Miata does it. So this side here is pretty much done, pointing right at the cross member. This side here, same thing. Plenty of clearance on both sides. Pointing right at there. I can actually move this a little bit still, but so yeah, that's how it's coming together. Monster Miata does the loop around the control arm on both sides. Because I have room on the driver's side, I decided to go this way, so the exhaust is not going to be 100% matching, which is fine, because I would rather have as much clearance as I can under the car. So this pipe, I have plenty of room to run it on here, why not? So as you can see, that's right there and right there. So now I'm going to take this one down again, so I can fabricate that clutch slave bracket, and then I can start pretty much building the exhaust back all the way back. But that's gonna be on next episode. This was actually a lot of work, believe it or not. It doesn't look like it's a lot of work, but grinding welds and getting angles, and there's a better view. It's a lot of work to do it from scratch. So yeah, the exhaust is ready to round back. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or anything you guys need, just message or throw a comment on there. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe.